Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this talk. I'm here to tell you about the STEMS protocol, which is a protocol about decentralized collaborative creativity. So let me start this by introducing myself. A lot of times I go to these talks and I have no idea the person's background and I can't put it in context. So I'm a third culture kid. I was born and raised in Morocco. I went to a French school there, and then I moved to the US for college, and then since then I've been hopping around. And I think that's relevant because for a cultural project in these decentralized environments, I think it's important to be comfortable in all kinds of different cultures. And in terms of crypto, I wrote some open source code for Cosmos in 2018, and then most recently I worked on a DeFi project on Cello called Mobius. And although I'm an engineer by trade, I like all kinds of artistic things. Like I like to freestyle rap, sing, and then more recently with STEMS DAO, I've gone into production as well. And also want to preface this by saying I don't pretend to be an NFT expert. It is a very rapidly changing environment, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Okay, what's wrong with, oh, sorry. What's wrong with music? So I think this meme is kind of sad because it's very true. If you guys have musician friends, it's actually very hard to make money with music. It's one of the most backwards and inefficient industries out there. So some numbers to illustrate that. If you think about the happiness that music generates or like creates in people's lives, and you compare that to what Facebook creates, and then you look at the revenue numbers. So Facebook generates $100 billion of revenue yearly, whereas the entire music industry all around the world generates about a quarter of that. And then in terms of like how much of a power law it is, only 0.2% of artists on Spotify make more than 50K a year. So 99.8% of people on Spotify can't make a living off of that. And then on top of this, 3 major labels pretty much control all of the music that you tend to listen to on Spotify. So how can Web3 music help? In the case of music NFTs, it's a very low effort additional income stream for artists, because low effort in the sense that you already have the music produced, you already have the audio files, you just need to add metadata and make them into NFTs. So also music is a very composable art form. So people have been remixing other people's songs and making music together for a long time, and blockchain kind of makes this more efficient. You can reward the people involved more properly, and then it's also traceable. So for instance, if you wanted to prove that you were Drake's first ever fan and you bought the NFT for the first album, you have the actual verifiable proof. Another thing that's cool is transparency. Sorry. So it's transparency in the sense that you have this public ledger where people can go and look at transactions. And so if there are middlemen, you know exactly how much they're getting. You know who's getting what. And if they're, like, for instance, songwriters involved, et cetera, you know how the artist kind of rewards the people that work with them. One of the coolest things for me is the artist fan communities. So for instance, I bought one of my friend's music NFTs a few months ago, and he's based in the UK, but I know everything he's doing. Like I know his tour plans, his audience, like how he plans on growing his audience, and I've kind of became friends with his fans as well, which is kind of cool. And there's this aligned incentive where if the artist you believe in grows, the NFT you have also grows in value. So what are stems? I'll just let Charlie Puth explain it to you.
What if there was a song that started off like blum 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 blum, and then a weird bass thing like wow wow, and the drums are really simple like. Okay, everybody tilt your phone horizontally. I had this idea. In the song, you would hear my voice over here. I can feel you over here. And then you would hear it on the other side of your phone. I can feel you over here. This is what it sounds like so far. Up in my head, yeah. Memories follow me left and right. I can feel you over here. I can feel you over here. You take up every corner of my mind. Your love's... You got it?
Yeah. Hopefully you got it. But it's like basically the first things he was doing with his mouth and then showing the stems on Ableton. Those are stems. How do I make this? There you go.
What if there was a song that started?
Okay, and then so why did we decide to make the stems into NFT? So we think that if we want to move music onto Web3, we basically need the music to be made on chain. Like we don't believe that the incentives for a user to go on Audius versus Spotify, like even if you know that the artist makes a little bit more money, if you pay less and you have access to more money, more music, and better recommendation systems, you're just going to use that software. So we think that, yeah, music creation is important. So focusing on the stems allows us to go like to the matrix, like the source of the music. And then there's some cool stuff, like we can have information about the stems at the kind of level of the stems. It's very granular. You can track like the key, BPM, ISRC code, and all these details about the actual audio file at the stem level. And then you can have stem level rights attribution. So basically publishing, recording rights, royalties defined at the stem level. And then you can also have that impact how the derivative art is like rewarding the various people who have ownership of it. And then there's also a cool side effect, which is there's a natural rarity hierarchy to stems. So if you're minting a collection and you don't know what you're getting, like based on whether you're getting a like guitar riff or like you'd rather get a lead vocal or a guitar than just a random background kick, which is kind of like when you're minting a PFP, you want to have the better attributes. Okay, so this talk is about the stems protocol, not stems DAO. So I don't know if people here are familiar with what a protocol is, but basically this paradigm of focusing on protocols versus platforms. So for instance, in the case of Ethereum, the protocol is Ethereum protocol, and then an Ethereum node that you would run on your computer would be a client that interacts with that protocol. That's the kind of platform. In the case of Uniswap, the protocol is the source code that you find on GitHub, and the app, like the platform, is what you interact with on the platform. Another example is like Lens. So Lens protocol, the decentralized graph is the protocol, and then Lens Friends is the wrapper that kind of allows you to interact with it. So in our case, Stems DAO is the kind of project that builds the platform, promotes curated artist releases, and just grows the community, grows the brand around all of this. Whereas the protocol is just a set of rules that allow you to make music with others by interacting directly with the blockchain. So what is this thing I'm talking about? So we're basically for this protocol, we take a song that is either already released or unreleased, and we take the pieces of the song, so like the samples, the stems, the snippets, and we make them into an NFT collection. So each stem or sample is an NFT, and then that collection is released and minted, and other artists can come in, use the stems, and make different songs with those stems, like either use all of them or use some of them, add some stems, and then make a new song. And then if the original artist approves that new song, that song can be minted as an NFT in turn. Okay, so if you're still following me until now, good job. It's going to get a little uglier for a bit, but just stay with me. So essentially, our smart contracts architecture is based on a few real-life notions that we're kind of encapsulating via different smart contracts. So we have projects, which represents one or more artists. And then, so a project deploys a contract, which is essentially the only entity that can release stem collections. And then they also deploy a song contract, which allows people to use the stems from the collection and release songs with that artist, kind of like a featuring. It's like a on-chain featuring. But yeah, I mean, if this is confusing, think about it as the artist, all you do is you release stem NFTs, and then you deploy this contract that lets people release songs with your stem NFTs, and then you can approve the songs that you like, basically, on the blockchain, on the chain. So in the next steps, we want to be able to allow like a second layer, so that when people release a song that is using someone else's stems, that song itself can become a collection that other people can build on, and just like continuously let the composability happen. We also want to integrate the stems songs kind of at the protocol level with entities from Lens, because we think the social kind of route is the next frontier for blockchain. That's kind of the avenue we're going for. We also want to build the tools for non-creative artists to drop kind of collections and interact with the protocol. Right now, we only have that for like established artists that are curated, and then we want to expand beyond music into other kind of video media and other media. So this thing is developed by Stems DAO. A lot of people are asking me like, why do you want to do a DAO? You just like want to slap the name on there because it's trendy, but it's actually there's a very good use case for us in terms of the governance. So we think that a handful of people shouldn't own a project, or the majority of a project with this kind of scope and vision, like basically embodying decentralized culture, or like culture in the decentralized world. That should be something that many different people should have a say in. And then most particularly, like the artists that drop music with us, we want to give them ownership and governance power. So imagine if the top YouTube creators and the top TikTok creators had a say, or like had a portion of YouTube and TikTok. Like what would happen? Would it be a higher quality platform? We think that it would increase the quality of the content and like decrease the kind of necessity to spend a lot of time on the platforms. More like the quality to quantity ratio would change. And so because these are the reasons, we actually don't care that much about the token aspect, like the speculative aspect. And we're exploring kind of non-transferable, non-speculative governance assets. If you want to get involved with Stems DAO, you can check Stems DAO out on Twitter. The main thing you can do with us, I don't know if there are any musicians in the room, is to make music with our stems, which come from artists. We have Poolside, who dropped some stems with us, Harris Cole, and a lot of different artists from various genres. And then if you don't make music, you can still get involved by joining, supporting the musicians, spreading the word, sharing some content on Discord. We have some people that made friends on our Discord went raving with them. So yeah, just check it out. And then this is some like never said before alpha. We haven't dropped any NFTs yet. It's been a long time in the making. And so because of that, we're gonna make it special. So just stay tuned for that. And these are my handles to continue the conversation. I also have a video that I can show, but I don't think I have. How long? It's like a minute and a half. Okay. The quality is not great on Google, but hopefully it's.
Turn up just to see you. Just to see you. I don't really feel alright. Guess I'll leave those shots tonight. Turn up just to see you live.
Anyway, it's the promo video. The idea is like thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Haitham. So, questions. Here we go.
Thank you. Why is it important for the artist to approve how his stem is being used?
So you can actually still release a song without them approving it, but so typically an artist has very strong creative opinions. So imagine you're like a very specific type of organica house artist and someone drops a trap remix of your song and you just don't want that tied to you. So you can filter, basically. It's like accepting a featuring, right? You can't force someone to work with you if they don't want to creatively. So it's kind of like this filtering where there will be the other songs that you can explore still. Like we're not blocking people, but the ones that the original artist likes, they get an extra kind of check mark. And the actual implementation of that is their wallet address gets retroactively whitelisted, basically.
Any other questions out there? Yes, sir. Hey, wait.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, will there be like a marketplace for this thing, like OpenSea, where stems, people can collect the stems and merge them?
Yes.
Okay, and then like if someone is integrating someone else's stems, so how would that process work out in the NFT process?
If someone is integrating someone else's stems to, what do you mean?
Make new music, right?
So yeah, so basically when you release a new song using someone else's stems, you select the stems that you used. So if you interact with the blockchain yourself, you actually have to like put in the token ID, but we have a platform with a UI that gives you like the stems from whatever collection your song is tied to. And then you just pick them, and we tie that to the token ID so that on the blockchain, your song links to the stems that you used and the collection of those stems.
But then how can this be enforced, right? So suppose like there is a music, right? So someone can be ethical and use those stems, but then most people like just take the music and merge it with the music, right?
Take the music and merge it with
without using the NFT infrastructure.
Yeah, so if so Stems DAO incentivizes the people to make these remixes. So the truth is that you can always steal other people's music and not do things legally. So the way we're doing it is we're focusing on the carrot, not the stick. So if you re-upload, if you use the protocol via our platform, we have incentives. So for instance, the 5th game we did, the winner, the remix, like the person that made the remix that the original artist liked the most, they got to open for that artist at a private event by Stems DAO. And the idea is that those incentives can be more streamlined via token or some form of other kind of like maybe a PFP NFT or, I mean, we have a lot of things in the work for that, but essentially just give people an incentive to do it that way. And then when there's enough traffic from all that content being made, people are just going to want to release that way to get the traffic and get approved by the artist. You know, it's kind of like a way to get that artist featuring, which is the most interesting part of this, because you can find stems everywhere.
Yep, it's like solving with game theory.
Thank you, Haitham.
Thank you very much.